Hello everyone. In this video we will be seeing how to analyze a plane truss in SAP 2000 software. So we have already did the modeling in the last class. This is your plane truss model with two support hinged and the model geometry, everything we have defined, and we have assigned the property to the truss members, which is an angle section, ISA, Indian Standard Equal Angle section. So now we will do the analysis. So for the analysis we have to define the load cases, load pattern, load combinations, and then we will be doing the analysis. The first we will see how to define different load case. So in this case we have to consider the first one is the self weight of the truss, which will be calculating SAP it automatically. And then we have the superimposed dead load, which is the weight of your deck slab and weight of your floor beams. So that weight we already find out the equivalent joint loads, and that joint load will be assigning to these lower chord truss joints. And then we will be applying our vehicle load, which is a moving load. And right now we are doing the analysis for load case 7. So we already understood in the load condition 7 your vehicle load will be acting at this third joint, fifth and seventh joint. Okay, and to start the analysis, first go to define, go to load pattern, and here we will be defining different load pattern. So dead load with self weight multiplier 1, it is already there, and this self weight multiplier 1 means your SAP 2000 will be calculating the weight of the truss members its own, so we don't need to apply any value. So by default this will be there. So now we'll be adding a new load pattern, which is superimposed dead load. So type is dead and multiplier is 0. So click add new load pattern. So now we'll be giving the wheel load, which is a weight of your vehicle. The type is, it is a moving load, it is a live load, and self weight multiplier is 0. And then choose add new load pattern. Okay, then you press OK. So now you go to define load cases. So once initially there was only model and dead. So now we define the superimposed dead load and wheel load as a new load pattern. So these two options will be already came here. So here it is showing it is a linear static analysis, which is the type of analysis we are going to do in this tutorial. So now click OK. So now we will be defining the load combination. To define the load combination, go to define and choose load combinations and click add new load combinations, and here we will make our load combinations. The load combination means we have uh, divided into three types of load. One is the dead load, the weight of your truss, and superimposed dead load, the weight of your carriageway, which is the road, plus weight of your floor beams. And these two will be coming under superimposed dead load. And then we have the vehicle load. So we have to combine these all the three loads. So combine means we are going to do a just linear addition of all the three. So here the load combination type will be linear add, and the dead load, the weight of the truss, the scale factor we are taking as 1, and second one you will select this superimposed dead load, linear static type, and scale factor is 1. And then third type wheel load, the vehicle load, and scale factor which is 1.294. So this scale factor we have calculated, which is actually coming from your IRC code value. The value is the amplification factor. To include the dynamic effect for this moving load, we will be taking an amplification factor, and we calculated that value of the amplification factor in the last class, and we got the value is 29.4%. We have to increase the wheel load, so that is why we will be taking the scale factor is 1.294 only for the wheel load. Okay, yeah, dead load also there, so dead load with a factor 1. So this is your first load combination. We are combining all the three loads, so I will be giving the load combination name, that is dead load plus live load, dead load plus superimposed dead load plus 1.294 live load. This is the name of the load combination. You can give any name, just for the easy identification we are giving this name. Okay, so by looking at the name we'll get to know that what is the total load we are considering under this load combination. Okay, so now you press OK. So now you define another load combination, and here dead load factor is 1, add, and again superimpose dead load factor is 1, add, and in this load combination I am taking the wheel load with a factor 1. So let us say I am not taking the amplification factor, so it is a second load combination, so I can give the name dead load plus live load, superimpose dead load plus live load, just linear addition of all the three without any scale factor. Okay, and now I am defining one more load combination, which is by neglecting the self weight of the structure. That means I don't want the dead load part. So for the load combination we will be taking only superimposed dead load and factor 1, and wheel load, the factor is 1.294. so in these combinations we are not taking the dead load. That means we are not considering the self weight of the truss. So this load combination I am defining. The purpose is this load combination, the result will be exactly matching with your hand calculation result, because hand calculation we have already done in the last class. So the hand calculated result, we are neglecting the self weight of your truss. So if you want to match your SAP result exactly with your hand calculation, we have to choose this load combination. So we will be neglecting dead load, only we will be considering superimposed dead load and wheel load with the factor. So this combination name I can give superimposed dead load plus 1.294 live load. Okay, so now I got three load combinations. Okay, so now your load combination is ready and load patterns we have already defined. So now we will be assigning the join loads, and then we will go to the analysis part, and at last we will be seeing how to see the result and interpretation of your result. Okay, so to assign the load, so we have already calculated the join loads coming from the superimposed dead load, which is the weight of your deck slab plus weight of your floor beams. So we have calculated the first joint and the last joint. It is going to experience joint load is 17.74. so we have to assign that load. To assign the loads, select these two joints. Okay, select these two joints, go to assign, go to join loads, take force, and choose the load pattern, that is superimposed dead load, so choose SDL. Okay, the value of load is we have calculated minus 17.72 kilonewton. So it is acting in the Z direction. As per your SAP 2000, your coordinate system is like this. So this is your positive Z, but our load is acting at this joint something like this. Okay, so that is why it is acting in the downward directions, and the magnitude is 17.72. the magnitude is 17.72. so I'm keeping a negative sign, so it will be coming in the correct direction. Okay, then you apply. So once you apply, at the same time the load 17.72 is showing here, and similar by here also you can see that this load is 17.72, and the remaining joints we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So these 7 joints will be carrying joint loads of 32.71 kilonewton, in the downward direction or in the negative z direction, so minus 32.71. This load calculation part we have already done in the last class by using center line method. Okay, so now you apply. So all the 7 joints, you got the force joint loads in the negative z direction 32.71. You can see the values the load is displaying over here. So now you press OK. So now we have to apply the live. We will be applying the live load for loading condition 7. So we will see what is the loading condition 7. So this is your loading condition 7. Okay, the loading condition 7, this is the vehicle load we are considering. So we have the vehicle load that 3.6 ton, 14.4 ton and 14.4 ton at a spacing of 4.26 meter. So we have the vehicle is moving from left to right, so right now we have considered the loading condition 7. That means your vehicle load, the first wheel load is acting at the third joint, that is 3.6 ton, and second wheel load is acting at the fifth joint, and third wheel load is acting at the seventh joint, 14.4 ton. So these three values in kilonewton we will be applying in the SAT model. So for that you have to convert ton into kilonewton. So 1 ton is equal to 10 kilonewton. So using this we can convert the value and we will be applying over these three joints, joint number 3, 5 and 7. Okay, so for this case we are doing the analysis right now. Loading condition 7, the vehicle is at the middle of the bridge. Okay, so now we will apply the wheel load at joint 3, 5 and 7. For that, select joint 3 and assign the load value joint loads force. So here also in the negative directions, and you change the load pattern, it is wheel load, and the value of load is 3.6 ton or 36 kilonewton, negative 36 kilonewton. Apply. Okay, so now you select the joint 5, and at this joint we have 14.4 ton or 144 kilonewton, and replace existing load. For all the case we will be keeping replace existing load, and here coordinate system will be global. Okay, apply. And similarly at this joint 7 we have another wheel load, type is wheel load, pattern is wheel load, coordinate system global, and minus 144. Replace existing load as this option, and then okay, apply. So now we have applied all the wheel load and coordinate system. One is global and another one is local. Global coordinate system means, so in your model we have, it is your origin. Okay, it is the origin of your coordinate system. So at this, here we have like this x, and it is z, and along this direction into the plane, that is the y. Okay, this xy is that is the global coordinate system for the entire truss structure. But if you take different members, its orientations different directions, for that members we will be defining a local coordinate system which will be like this. You can say it will be something like this. So 1, and this is 2, and it is 3. Okay, this is a local coordinate system, and if you select this particular member, your coordinates will be like this. It is 1, 3. If you select this particular member, this axis, this coordinate will be 1, perpendicular to this will be 2, and another one will be 3. So like that each member will be having its own coordinates, to define its properties, that is a local coordinate system, and this xyz will be known as global coordinate system. Okay, so while applying the load, we are applying in the negative z direction, that should be in global coordinate, that is why we are keeping the global coordinate system. Okay, now we can click OK. So now we have applied all the loading to that joints, and if you want to see the loading after applying, suppose if you want to check what is the load, whether you have applied correctly or not, one option you can go to display and you can choose show object load pad load assigns. You go to joints, because in the case of truss we are applying the loads at the joints, that is why we are selecting the joints, and the dead load is cannot be shown because that is the weight of the truss that is distributed in the entire structure. And if you choose superimpose dead load, be applied at all the joints, so you choose superimpose dead load and click on apply. So now it will be showing on the joints whatever the load you applied, so you check the value and the directions and make sure that it is correct, and then you choose wheel load and click apply. So wheel load we applied here 36, here 144, and here 144. So like this you can see the value, and again if here you can see the value 144. If you just right click on this joint, then this window will be open. So here you can see the loads, what is the load applied at this joint, that is 32.71 kilonewton under superimposed dead load. And here also at the same joint we have another load 144, that is under wheel load. So two loads we have, and both you can see from this window. And here also we have other option location. This will give the coordinate of these joints, that is x coordinate means the distance from the x coordinate means the distance from this is your origin, distance from here to here, so total distance that is 12.78 meter. So that we have already seen this, we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, so each spacing is how much, 2.13, so this will be getting 12.78, that is the x coordinate of this joint, and z coordinate will be 0 and y coordinate also will be 0. Okay, now we can click OK. So like that, if you select any joint, just right click over that joint. So this window will be coming. From here you can see the location, the coordinate of, you want to see the distance from here origin to this point, this joint, you can see from here, okay, 10.65. and if you want to check the load, you can see, okay, at this joint the value we have loading is 32.71 superimposed dead load. At this joint there is no wheel load. Okay, so our all loading you can cross check at any point of time, and right now everything is correct. We have applied load in the correct magnitude and directions at this correct location also. So now we can go to analyze option. To analyze the truss, go to analyze, go to set load cases to run, and here all are run. So now we can run the analysis. So for that you all are run and click run now. Now your analysis is going on. It will take few seconds to complete the analysis. So in this window it will be showing if there is any error in the analysis. So here you can see there is no error, 0 errors. So your analysis has completed, it has completed successfully. And two warnings you can neglect for the time being and click done. So now we will be seeing the result of your analysis result. To see the result, go to display, go to force or stress, force Now we'll see the result of your analysis. For that, go to display, force or stresses, go to joints and choose the load combinations. Dead load plus superimposed dead load plus 1.294 live load and tabulated. Then click on apply. So now we'll be getting the support reactions at this joints. What is support reactions? To see that value, just right click over the joint. So here you can see the joint force or reaction along 1 is minus 271 and 3 is 378. That means again you have to see the coordinate. So the coordinate is, this is the direction 1, okay, positive 1, and this is the positive 3 upward direction, and 2 is the direction into the plane. It is like this: 1, 2 and 3. So along 1 we have the reaction is minus 271, okay. Negative means your reaction value direction is towards this, and 3 you have positive 378. Positive 378 means we have the value of reaction at this joint is upward direction. It should be in upward direction because we have all the loading is in the downward direction. Similarly, you can see what is the joint reaction at the left joint. Just right click over this joint. So you can see the value along joint 1 we have 271 plus 271. So along positive 1, that is in this direction. Along 3 we have 308. So that is along positive is the direction. That is the direction. Okay. So we got the reaction at this joint. Upward reaction is how much? 308.57, and at this joint the upward reaction is 378.46. So now you close this window. So like this we can see the reaction value for any load combinations. So if you want to see the load combination on the other load combination without any factor, choose the load combination here and apply. So corresponding value you can see from here, and if you have another load combination without considering the weight of your truss, apply. So accordingly you can get the reaction values are varying. So maximum reaction you will be getting for the maximum load, which is this load combination, okay. So like this we can see the support reactions, okay. The next will be we can also verify your result. Suppose for your load combination, for this load combination, dead load plus superimposed dead load plus 1.294 live load. For this load combination, so I got this reaction value is 308.58 kilonewton, and this reaction value is 378.45 kilonewton. So if you take, so we have already the vertical equilibrium equation sigma Fy, summation of all the force along y direction should be 0. That means this summation 308 plus 378.45, So this value will be coming 6, 8, 7. This is a summation of two support reaction, and this value should be equal to your total loads. The total, we have the joint loads, or these joints we applied some load, and if you take summation of that joint loads, that should be equal to this value. So otherwise there is some mistake in your analysis. So let me cross check that value. So we have at all these 7 joints, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So all these 7 joints we have load is 7 into superimposed load, we have 32.71 plus at the first and last joint 2 joints, we have the load is 2 into 17.74. So now the superimposed load is over, plus we have the live load, that is 36 at this joint in the downward direction, plus at this joint and this joint we have 144. So 144 into 2. So all these are live load, and there was a factor of 1.294. So if you take this value, total value, this total sum will be coming 683.7. Okay, this value becomes 683. There is small difference because so in this calculation we have considered only the superimposed dead load and the weight of the wheel. Sorry, wait. In this calculation we have considered only superimposed dead load and the wheel load. We did not add the weight of the self weight. So here the self weight is already included in this calculation. That is why these two values are coming slightly higher. But you can see mostly it is almost equal, 683 and 687. There is small difference, and it is also one of the reason we are neglecting the self weight in the analysis of truss, because even if we include a self weight, there won't be much difference. See the value, there won't be any difference in either in the support reactions or the member force. The difference would be very less. That is why especially in the hand calculation we will be neglecting the weight of these truss members, because if you want to include the weight of the truss members, you have to do a lot of calculations. At the end the difference is very negligible, so that won't make any difference in the design output. Okay, the next we will be seeing the member forces. So to see the result, to see any result, you have to go to option display. Okay, so now we have seen only the reaction, support reaction. Go to display to see the member force. Go to display, show force or stress. Go to frame. All the members are called frame elements. So go to frame, and here again you choose the load combinations. The first load combinations, you choose the load combination dead load plus superimposed dead load plus 1.294 live load, which is the maximal load combination. And either you can choose the stress or force. If you choose the force, we can see the axial force, show values, apply. So now we can see all the member forces. The member force, which is because all the members going to carry axial force. Suppose if you take any truss members, how the load it is carrying, it is the axial force. Either it will be some tensile force, it will be carrying some tensile force, otherwise it will be, the member will be carrying a compressive force. So which will be almost uniform the entire length, the force is just uniform. So this is the force diagram actually. So here the red color, some members is showing the red color and some other members showing the blue color. Okay, and the red color indicate that is this force is these members carrying compressive force, and the blue color indicate the members carrying the tensile force. And if you want to see the member force, if you want to, member force is written here, it is bit difficult to read. So to see the member force clearly, just keep your mouse over that particular any member. If you keep here, it will be showing minus 325. The negative sign is for compressive force, so that means this member is carrying minus 325. And if you move the mouse over this member, you can see there is very small variation, 325.04, 325.09. So that is a negligible variation. This member is carrying a compressive force of 325. And also if you keep here this member, the value is showing positive 91.39. that means the member is carrying tensile force, axial tensile force of that 91.39 kilonewton. Like that you can get all the member force. This is the diagram showing the member force. Okay, and you can also see this in the other way. You just to do that, you just right click over any particular member. So a window will be opening. So here you can choose the load combinations again, and if you open this load combination, corresponding member force you can see. For this particular member, this is carrying a force. Here you can see the direction. So here you can see the direction. This is the arrow is towards the member. That means it is a like this. This is a force. That means this member is under compressive force of magnitude this much, 435.45. So this way also you can understand all the values will be in kilonewton. Okay, all the values will be in kilonewton. This is the force. This is the force diagram, axial force diagram, like your bending moment diagram. This is the axial force diagram, which is uniform in throughout the member. That is the, it is a just a constant value. So this is the value of axial force for this particular member. Similarly, you can see member force for any member. Okay, so and if you want to see some, if you want to change the load combinations, you have to choose from here. You can choose only for wheel load, vehicle load. What is accordingly the value will be changing 234 now, because now the load is less, accordingly force is less. And if you choose only superimposed dead load, it is again less 130. And only dead load, that means suppose if you are considering only the self weight of the truss, we can see the member force value is 1.81 kilonewton. That is a axial force value. That is a, again we can understand from here also, even if you neglect the member force, even if you neglect the self weight of the truss, you are going to get a result. You are going to miss only this much amount of force. That ultimately will not make any difference, because actual force, if you consider the total loading including self weight and live load and superimposed load, you will be getting a value of tensile force. You will be getting a value of tensile force of 435.45 kilonewton. And if you neglect the self weight of the members, you just select this load combination. Okay, so here we have this combination. Here we have only superimposed dead load and the live load. So here instead of 435 we are getting 433. Only that much difference we are getting. That means that it will not make any difference in the ultimate design of the truss members. 435 kilonewton you are designing, or you are designing for 433. So anyway, there won't be any difference in the final design output. So that is why we can neglect the weight of the members, truss members. Okay, now click done. Similarly, if you want to see any other member, you can do the same procedure. Just right click over the member. So this member, compressive force 403 under these load combinations. Okay, so you can see other load combinations as well in the similar way. Okay, so this is how we can see the member force, axial force. And if you want to see some other result, again go to display, show force or stress, and instead of axial force, if you want to see the torsion, so just select torsion for this load combination, select the torsion, and apply. So there is no force values are showing in the negative. That means the torsional effect is negligible. If we have a plain truss, the plain truss mean in this case, so what is the plane you are seeing? It is your xz plane. This is, and we have the truss here. Okay, we have the truss here with some support conditions. That means your truss is lying in xz plane, and we have some loading also here. Some loading in there. So you have studied this type of problem in your engineering mechanics. So we have the truss which is lying in xz plane, all the loading also in the same plane, xz plane. That is why all the loading also in the xz plane. That is why you will be getting the reaction, everything only will be in the xz plane. That is the reason while seeing support reactions also, we had the reaction only these two reactions. There won't be any reaction in the other directions. Okay, the torsional force will be 0. All the torsion, there won't be any torsion, will be negligible. And if you see we can also see the value of shear force and bending moment. So in the assumption, in the truss, in the analysis of truss, we already have studied the truss is going to carry only axial force, because all the joints of the truss are pin joints. That is an assumption, and all the loading we are applying only at the joints. That is why all the truss members is going to experience only the axial force. There won't be any bending moment and shear force. That is why in the manual calculation we will not finding out any moment or shear force. But if you are doing in a software, it will give you all the result including the shear and moment. So now we can see the value of shear force and moment, and we can see the value, how much it is, or whether it is negligible, or we should consider the. But in software it will give you all the value. We can also see the shear force and moment value. Suppose if you choose here the shear force and moment values are giving with respect to some coordinate directions. So for that we have to understand first the coordinate. Okay, suppose we have a member here. Suppose I'm taking a truss member. Let us assume this member, some inclined member, circular cross section. So along this length of the member, that is a coordinate 1. Okay, on the plane, the horizontal, maybe on the plane the horizontal axis is 3, vertical axis is 2. Okay, and the m33 moment 33 means your moment value about 33, and moment 22 means moment about 2, that axis. A circular cross section, both 2 and 3, both axes are similar. Suppose if we have a rectangular cross section, this will be the axis 3. Okay, this will be the axis 2. So while finding on the shear force V2, shear 22 means the shear force along this direction, that is this value. The shear 33, this value means the shear force along direction 3. And similarly, this quantity will be the moment about 3, and this quantity will be moment about 2. Okay, want to see, so if you want to see the moment value about 3, you can select apply. So it will be showing this is the moment diagram, but you have some moment, you are seeing some moment diagram, but if you see the value, just keep your mouse cursor over there, you will see the value is 0.018 kilonewton, the kilonewton meter. So the moment value is almost negligible. That is why all the moment values are very less than, it is 0.013 kilonewton meter. Okay, all the moment values are negligibly small. That is why we are neglecting the moment. And you can see the value. You just right click over the member. Okay, just right click over the member. So here you can, it is your moment diagram, and the maximum value of moment is here you can see the maximum value of moment. This is the maximum value of moment. So this is very less than 1 kilonewton meter. Even there is no not even 1 kilonewton meter moment. So it is very less. It is hardly how much? It is 18.7 newton meter. And if you see the shear force, it is the shear force variation for that particular member, and this is the maximum shear force. So that is why shear moment, all these values will be there, negligible value will be there, because we are using a software, so it will give you all the results. The value will be there, but that will be very negligible, and you can neglect that in the analysis. So you have to consider only the axial force. So like this you can see all the result. So to remove all this moment diagram or axial force diagram, you just go to display and show undeformed shape. So it will give you only the model. Okay, and if you want to see the deflect shape of your truss, you can go to show deformed shape and select load combination and apply. So this is the deflector shape, and if you keep the mouse over here, so this joint, this truss joint, initially it was here, so now it has deflected to here, it has moved to here in the along Z directions. How much? You can see this value u3. You keep your mouse over there and you can see the value, this point. So u3 means this much distance. Okay, this is u3. And what is the movement along horizontal direction? That is u1. And u2 is the displacement along this direction, and u3 is the displacement along the vertical direction. That is the value you can see here. u3 equal to 0.094 millimeter. u3 equal to, you can see the value here, u3 equal to 0.094 meter. That means almost 94 millimeter. So you are getting the little high value, but whatever it is, that is a deflection at this point. Similarly, you can see the deflection at any joint, and just keep your mouse over there, over the joints. So now we have understood how to see the result from the analysis. We can see the axial force, whether it is compressive force or tensile force, and you can also see the bending moment value, shear force value, torsional moment. All those values will be negligible. And you can also see the effect of self weight in the value of support reaction and member force, and we can easily understand that effect of self weight is negligible, and that is the reason we can neglect the self weight value for the analysis. You can also see the stress value. We have seen the force. You can also see the stress value from here. Just go to frame, and instead of force, axial force, you just choose the display type, you choose stress. Okay, and you select S11 and select apply. So this is the value you are seeing here. This is the stress value. This is the stress value. You can see at this, if you select any member, so this member was in compressive force, so now it is in compressive stress. Okay, this member is under compressive stress, so you can see the value of stress, this much kilonewton meter square. This is the stress axial force, P by area. This is nothing but your P by area. Okay, so we had this member was something like this, some force is acting, P. Okay, and it is having some area cross section, so we will be having axial stress sigma equal to P by area, and that is the value in kilonewton meter square, because we define length is in meter and force is in kilonewton at the beginning of the modeling. That is why your stress value will be in kilonewton per meter square, and you can convert that into megapascal or Newton per millimeter square. You can choose the different load combinations, which load combination you want to see the value of stress, and if you choose only dead load, only you can see the value of stress due to dead load. Dead load value stress will not be same. This stress P by A will be due to the axial force, that will be uniform. But if you choose the dead load, actually the dead load is the weight of the member. It is distributed throughout the member. That is why the value will not be uniform. It is something like this. It is showing. Okay. So now we can get all the result. Now we can get all the result for the loading condition 7. Similarly, we can get the loading for the remaining loading condition. All the 14 loading condition, you can get the value of member forces. To get that, only difference is you have to change the point of application of your dead load. For that, you have to change in the similar way. You can do the analysis for all the loading conditions, all the 14 loading conditions. So only difference is your model will be same. The point of application of the SDL, superimposed dead load, will be remain same. So right now we applied wheel load at this 3rd, 5th and 7th. So that is the loading condition 7. Okay, suppose the work loading condition is 8. Suppose if we want to do for the loading condition 8, so what is the difference? This work is moving in the towards left direction. This 36 wheel load will be acting at this joint. Here we'll be having 144, and here we'll be having another 144 kilonewton. So this is the, you just change the load, you just change the location of your wheel load, and then go to the analyze and repeat same procedure and get all the result. And this is loading condition 8. And loading condition 9 means these three will be your loading condition 9 means your 36 will be here, 144 will be here, and another 144 will be here. So now you do the analysis. Either you just change the either you just modify this model, or you do in a new model. Okay, just keep a file, only the model, SAP model, you keep a separate file, and you copy that file and modify for all the 14 load combinations. Okay, and after doing the analysis for all the 14 loading conditions, you have to tabulate your result in the given Excel sheet. The first, the result sheet 1, you take result 1 Excel sheet. Here you will be comparing, here you will be doing a comparison between your SAP result and manual result. So there will be slight difference, that is due to effect of self-weight. Self-weight we are not considering in the manual calculation. That is why your load or your axial force value will be slightly lesser than your SAP result. The SAP result will be slightly higher, because in SAP we are also adding the self-weight. So you select, you give the member name here, or you will be having total 29 members. So you give the member name here and corresponding, and the member force value, axial force value, manual calculation you enter here. And SAP result you will be getting a slightly higher value, that value you take and enter here. And this value and this SAP result, the SAP result means we have to take this combination. Okay, dead load plus superimposed dead load plus 1.294 live load. So this combination you take and tabulate the member force, or tabulate member force in this column. And here you write the nature of force, either whether it is compressive force or tensile force. And here you can find out the percentage difference between the SAP and hand calculation. This percentage, suppose if you got 100, from the manual calculation, and 103 from the SAP. Then this percentage difference, this value is percentage with respect to manual result. Okay, percentage difference with respect to manual result. That means this value is equal to 103 minus 100 divided by 100 into 100. Suppose this member you got 25 and here you got 28, then this percentage difference will be 28 minus 25 divided by 25 into 100. So like this you find out this value, and finally you can see this column, you will be getting very small difference, 1 percentage, 0.5 percentage, or 1.5 percentage, or it will be like that. Even there won't be 1% difference, the difference will be very less. So that is from that you can conclude that the effect of self-weight is very negligible in the case of stress analysis. So you complete this Excel sheet, tabulate all the result for all the member pools. So you can complete this result analysis result and after this you take the Excel sheet result to analysis result. The first one is comparison, okay, and this analysis result you tabulate here. You select, you write the name of the members here, 29 members. You give some name to the member, you give some name to the joins. Accordingly you can give them name for the members, okay. And first load condition, what is the member force for this member. Load condition 2, what is the member force. Like this you write all the 14 loading conditions, what is the member force, okay. And 2 3 like this you complete the entire table, and then you choose, okay, let us take first member. You select the first member, you see for all the 14 loading combinations which is the maximum force, 654. It is just for example I've entered some value, 654 is the maximum, that value you select here. So we'll be designing this truss member for this much amount of force. Similarly you select take the another member, you see all the 14 load combination the result, and you select the highest value, and this will be your design force for this particular member. This loading conditions coming because your vehicle is moving across the bridge, so accordingly you will be having the wheel load position will be different at different point of time. So that is why we are considering the 14 loading conditions, and like this you do for all the 29 members, and you find out what is the maximum force for each member force maximum. You note that for this, let's say for the first member load condition 9 will give you the maximum force, but for the second member the load condition may be maximum, but for the second member maximum force may come from another loading condition which may be loading condition 12. Like this you get the value of maximum force for all the members, and the remark column you just write what is the nature of force, compressive, and which loading condition is giving this value. So that is load condition 9. This force, if it tensile force, write tensile, and this value is coming from loading condition 12, so right here. Like this you complete for all the 29 truss members, okay. And then we'll be getting the design force. Then using this design sheet we'll be doing the manual design for all the truss members for the design force. Design force is simply the maximum force from all the 14 loading conditions. So we'll be doing the manual design, and then we'll be doing the design in SAP 2000 software also. So at the end we'll be completing the analysis for all the loading conditions. So all are looking similar. If you understood for loading condition 7, you can do the similar analysis by changing the vehicle position throughout the span of your bridge. So we will be getting the design force, maximum force. For each maximum force we'll be designing each truss members, because the vehicle moving from We assume this is the direction the vehicle is moving from. We have taken the vehicle moving from the right to left. So accordingly we have 14 loading conditions, and you can analyze and you can design the truss members. And actual truss will be a three-dimensional structure, but both the side will be having a similar frame, so we'll be taking only one side. So then we are doing a simple 2D analysis, plane truss analysis we are doing. Simple plane truss analysis, and this was the heaviest truck load we considered for our analysis. So this load we are just moving. For this load we are just moving across the truss. Okay, the remaining part will be continuing in the next class. Okay, thank you.